I started a campaign called Lose Hate, Not Weight. I wanted to tell people that it was not weight that needed to be shed, but rather the ideology that we aren't perfect no matter what our size.
Alrighty, guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Before we get into the topic, if you see all these lovely people here on the side of the screen, I record these live on Twitch, so if you're ever bored and you want to come join us, please feel free. I stream on Twitch every single weekday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all right? We're always here. I would love to have you. So today, I wanted to talk about something that this kind of came to my mind earlier when I was at the gym, and honestly, it came to my mind because if I'm going to be honest, I've been struggling a lot recently, mentally. When people lose weight, I feel like when they are a public figure, a lot of times it feels like everything becomes like sunshine and rainbows and everything is perfect and losing weight will solve all your problems. And that's just, in my experience, isn't true. And I think it's really, really important that it's talked about more, because I think a lot of times people will think that losing weight will solve all of their problems. It will become like this magic bullet, this silver bullet, right? That they do it and then everything is fixed, right? And so I was kind of thinking about this because I know that I talk a lot about, the health at every size movement, fat acceptance, all this stuff. And I always say that, there are things that I agree with. And I think that this is one of them. And this is a big one that I actually agree with, because there are people out there, I'm sure you've seen them, that will make those claims that just lose the weight and everything will be fixed. And for me, that has just not been the case. That has not been true, and I have not experienced that. And so I want to share my story to kind of, hopefully, I don't want to discourage anyone from losing weight, but I also want people to have the right expectations, right? Because when we get into losing weight, I think having the right expectations will really set us up for, to be in a better position once we hopefully do lose the weight. So the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because we were actually talking about this not long before I actually started recording this video on chat. A lot of people will see weight loss and they think, I just need to lose the weight and then I'll be good. But the reality of the fact of the matter is that losing the weight is only half of the battle, and not even half. I would say it's like 20% of the battle. And this might sound like I'm being kind of like a douche or something, or like I'm being rude, or I'm almost like, honking my own horn or like patting my own back. But losing weight is easy compared to keeping the weight off. It is, right? And so when you are losing weight, the reason that I talk so much about sustainability, the reason that I talk so much about building healthy habits is because hopefully if you are someone that is trying to lose weight, you are going to get to a point where you have lost the weight, right? And then from that point on, now you're in a different phase. It's important that you understand this. It is very different going from losing weight to maintaining your weight, okay? And the thing is that it is much, much, much harder to maintain that weight if you have expected the weight loss to solve a lot of issues that weight loss frankly will not solve.
Even though I hated dieting, I did it for nearly 20 years because I believed I had to lose weight if I wanted love, success, visibility, and freedom.
Now, what do I mean by this? So one of them is going to be self-esteem, okay? I know that there are a lot of people that watch my videos that think that I am someone that has a lot of self-esteem and I'm very sure of myself. Guess what? I am not, okay? I'm basically the opposite. I have very, very low self-esteem, all right? And I had very low self-esteem when I was bigger. Surprise, right? I think that that's a very normal thing, right? It's something that no one is surprised to hear that. Oh, a big dude that doesn't have great self-esteem. But losing the weight has not given me insane amounts of self-esteem. It hasn't. Am I saying that it's as bad as it was? I don't think so. But there are things about myself that I am not super stoked about. And just because I lost the weight, it's fixed, right? It's not how it works. So before, this is something that I get a lot of people that ask me questions about is like, like large crowds going into rooms. I used to be terrified about, going into a room, and I would always think like if I heard someone laughing, right? I would think to myself, they're laughing at me. It was always like I was very insecure, right? I just was. I always assumed that people were, if I walked into a room, I assumed that they were going to look at me and they were going to laugh, or they were going to think that it like, oh my God, that guy is so big, right? Whether that's true or not, that's how I felt. And losing the weight, has that solved that one issue? I would say for the most part, yes, right? But there are certain things that I still struggle with, right? So for me, as you guys know, it's not a surprise, I have loose skin. So if I'm wearing a shirt, and again, I have days that are good, days that are bad. So I have days where this stuff doesn't bother me at all, and I'm totally cool, and I'm chilling, and like I could care less what people think. But I also have days where I am hyper aware, right? It just is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. That's just how I am. So I have other days when if I walk into a room and I feel like I'm wearing a shirt that kind of shows my loose skin a little bit more, I'm thinking that people are looking directly at me and they are like, oh my God, look at this guy. That's disgusting, right? Now, why did I bring up like the health at every size and, fat acceptance, all that stuff? Because something that they do talk about is the same types of things. There are so many people out there that will make you think that losing the weight will solve everything. I'm telling you right now, it will not. If you are depressed and you struggle with really negative thoughts, very dangerous thoughts, I just want to tell you, obviously I can only speak from my experience, it is not just going to poof go away. That's not how it works. Okay? I want to make that very clear. But I also want to say that it absolutely can help. It absolutely can make you feel a lot more confident. Do I feel more confident? Absolutely. Like, with beyond a shadow of a doubt, I have a lot more confidence. But just because I have more confidence, that doesn't mean that I don't have days where I struggle. It doesn't mean that I don't have these, really messed up, intrusive thoughts that I deal with all the time. It doesn't mean that I don't, like this past weekend, have weekends where I wish more than anything that I was invisible, right? This has been something I've struggled with my entire life, and it's still something that I struggle with now. I am someone, I don't mind being alone, but I don't always want to be alone. And those times where maybe I don't want to be alone, but I don't want to be out in public because I don't want people to see me. I wish I had basically like Harry Potter. I could put on the invisibility cloak and still be out around people and people watch because it's one of my favorite things. But I wish I couldn't be perceived. I wish people didn't see me, right? And I think there are a lot of people that are going on a weight loss journey genuinely thinking that this weight loss journey is going to solve all of those issues. And it's just not. But does that mean that you shouldn't go on the weight loss journey? No. Okay. Now this is where I disagree with the health at every size people. And this is a huge, huge, huge disagreement that I have, is that just because something isn't going to solve everything doesn't mean that it's completely worthless and not worth putting time in. Losing weight is hard as hell, okay? It is hard. But just because it's very hard, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, okay? Yes, it's really hard, and yes, it is not going to solve all of your problems, but also, yes, it is very hard, and yes, it can be so worthwhile, and it can absolutely change your life, save your life, and it can help you mentally in certain things. But I think it is very, very, very important that those of us that have lost weight, that promote weight loss, that have talk about all of these things, are realistic and set people up for success and let them know, hey, if you are struggling with this, there is a good chance that just because you lose the weight, you might still be struggling with it, right? And if someone thinks that, oh, then I don't want to lose weight because of that, I'm sorry, right? Like I don't mean to discourage anyone, but I think it's better that you are ready for that realization before you go down that really hard, arduous weight loss journey and you get there and you're like, what the heck, dude? Like, this wasn't it. I've talked about this meme many times in videos that I've made. It was a meme that was posted. It was like, it's an old school one. It was on Instagram. Like, I don't even remember what year it was, like 2015, 2016, where it was like two really crappy drawings basically, right? Like really low quality, but on purpose, right? And it was like this kind of like it was a stick figure, but it was like a fat stick figure, right? And it was like a thought bubble that said, I hate myself. And then the next one was the same stick figure, but they had lost weight. And then it just said, well, that wasn't it. And I'm not saying that we all hate ourselves, but it was such a good representation of a lot of things, right? If you genuinely despise yourself and you hate these things about yourself, I just personally believe that if you go and you think losing weight will make you like yourself more, that is a very dangerous road to go down. That's why I always say I lost weight out of self-love, right? I hated, and I want to make this clear, I hated what obesity did to me. I hated what it took away from me. I hated the things that it robbed me of, okay? I hated that. But I loved myself, because if I didn't love myself, why would I go down that long, hard journey? Why would I do that? Why would I go through that? If I didn't care, screw it. I'm going to die soon anyways, right? Why would I even go through it? So that's why I always say I lost weight out of a place of self-love. I hated a lot of things about myself. I'm going to be honest, right? There were tons of things like personality traits, just different things. The things that I missed out on, things that the weight had caused me to do, to not do, to miss out. I hated that stuff. But at the core of who I was, I loved myself. And that's the only way I can see myself going through the journey that I went through. Because I was like, yo, I want to stick around. I want to be around. I want to live a longer life. I want to be around past 30 years old because I genuinely believe that that wasn't going to happen, right? And so the reason that I wanted to record, it's more of a rant than anything, but it was just something that I was thinking about. Again, like I said, I've had a mentally rough week, really, for the most part. And I just wanted to share that because I think a lot of times, those of us that have had success, that have these platforms, whether it's through losing weight or whatever, it's hard to maybe share this type of stuff. And so I just really wanted to do that. I hope this isn't too much of a negative video, but I just really wanted to, share this really real thought process that is going through my mind and has been going through my mind for the last couple weeks. But I think that's pretty much all that I have to say. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully I wasn't reading chat at all. So hopefully they weren't saying anything too out of pocket, but we'll see after the video is up. But thank you guys so much for checking out the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.